The reality of the Gospel World Outreach Ministries presents the Voice of Deliverance broadcast, featuring the explosive preaching, bold teaching, and the powerful prayer of deliverance of Heaven's Ambassador, Leonard Ford. Brother Ford is a minister that does what others don't, and he has a ministry that goes where others won't. He and his wife, Jessie, travel across America and around the world, preaching hope and bringing deliverance. Whether they are in the church, under the gospel tent, or on the mission field, they boldly declare that if you continue in the word, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Now I present to you Brother Ford.
Watch his portfolio is diversified. He's very rich in cattle, very rich in silver, and very rich in gold. And he went on his own journey, on his journey from the south even to Bethel, that's the house of God, until the place where his tent had been at the beginning between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. See, Abraham, now you got to understand, when Abraham made an altar, it wasn't an altar just to go pray. It was an altar to worship and offer. And according to history, in Mesopotamia, they believed that you had 10 fingers, and if you worked, at least one labor of one of those fingers went to God. So Abraham was a tither before we ever heard about tithing. Before he got to Melchizedek, because of the country he was raised in, he was, even though we're pagans, he gave a tenth. So when he made an altar, that altar was a sacrifice where when Noah got off the boat, what did he do? He built an altar and made a sacrifice. Abraham, and later on we find out through Jacob that Bethel was called the house of God. He went right back there, went right back to the altar, and what you go to the altar for? To make that sacrifice. Lot is watching all of this, y'all. I'm saying that because my wife and I, over the last 40-something years of teaching and preaching and traveling across this country, have ran into pastors. Not only did they not tithe, they received the tithe. And when I showed them from the Bible, the tithe don't go to the pastor. The tithe goes to the Levite, which is all the ministry. The first fruit went to the priest or the pastors. But they was shipwrecking their own church. Paid the church bills and everything else went in their pocket. Glory to God. Now watch this. We're going in verse 3. He went on his journey from the south to Bethel to the place where his tent had been at the beginning. Verse 4. Until the place of the altar which he had made there at first. Do you put God first? Now I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you a little bit. But still, he's still first. The first dollar is not the Lord's. Okay, the first fruit is the priest. So if you bring that today and you doing day's work, you just got your lawn care, your beauty parlor open. First head you do, what you frame that for? That's first fruit. That don't be on no frame. I walk in places, the first dollar, first $100 is in a frame. That don't belong there. That belong to the man or woman of God. Now, when it comes in, God said the 10th is mine. But I take the 10th and give it to him first. So the first ain't healed, the 10th is healed, but the 10th, in other words, when it's all in, then for anything go out, the 10th comes out and it goes out to God. You see, I'm putting God first. And the reason I know that, because God said in Leviticus, he said, now, don't change it. If you change it, it and the change is mine. Because the 10th is mine, I don't care what you do with it. And you try to modify, I want my 10th and the modification. If I was teaching on tithing today, you'd get a revelation that change your life. But I don't have time right now. Watch this. Now watch verse 6. Well, listen to verse. We can't miss verse 5. He called on the name of the Lord there. Watch this, verse 5. And Lot also, which went with Abram. Lot also, which traveled with Abram. I've had quite a few preachers travel with me over the years, and none of them really want to respect me now. They try, but you know that competitive jealousy got them. Lot had flocks and herds and tents. Paul, where'd they come from? Where'd they come from? They came from Abram. Lot, when it wasn't for Abram, Lot would have nothing. He'd have been left down there in Iran eating mud pies, trying to struggle, trying to figure a way to live. But through his association with a man of integrity, with a heavenly pronunciation on his life, he's a giver. Abram is generous. And his generosity has made Lot rich, and Lot is not gracious. But Lot had flocks, plural, herds, plural, tents, pause. He don't have a wife. He don't have any children. What do he need tents for? Because with them flocks and with them herds, Abram have given him some herdsmen. And the herdsmen, tents was the house. Remember he gave them men servants and maid servants? See, this ain't an overnight. I'm trying to show you it was so progressive that somewhere them men servants and maid servants and had children. And so now they need tents to take care of Lot's flocks. Abram, got to catch this, is putting some of his staff in Lot's control. He's sharing, in other words, he's sharing all his success with the one that's associated with him. Follow me now. And this land, verse 6, was not able to bear them. Because you know, cows multiply, sheep multiply, goats multiply, camels multiply. It growing up, and this little portion of land where we at right here, this is, you know, it can't hold all my stuff and all your stuff, but all your stuff used to be my stuff, but your stuff now is a seed I've sown, which means mine finna multiply like crazy. Watch this now. The land wasn't big enough to hold them that they might dwell together, for their substance was so great they couldn't dwell together. Now understand, the reason now we've come to a place where we must separate is because this place is too straight for us. The reason right now is not strife, it's not competitive jealousy, it's just the fact that we've outgrown this place. But the mindset, verse 7, and there was strife, now watch this, pay attention, between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. Pause. The herdmen have one assignment: take care of my cows, take care of my camels. But wait a minute, I was going to graze Lot right there. No, Abram, I'm led. So now the herdmen, because they're trying to do their job where it's insufficiency. What should have happened? Lot should have came to Unc and say, Unc, we got a problem. This land ain't big enough to feed the cattle. My men done got upset with your men. I went out there. They out there about to have a brawl, man. What we going to do? That ain't how it happened. He slipped over into selfishness. Have you ever heard somebody bring you something and you agree with them and that's just one side of the story? You should have said, well, let me go see what's going on. But people, have they ever come to you with such an attitude, you know we cannot negotiate? So the strife was not between Lot and Abram. The strife was between the herdsmen. Have you ever heard of borrowed offense? Folks get so upset about something they heard that they take it on as theirs. And when you hear them, you think they've been mistreated and they're upset about something somebody else say happened to them. So Lot has borrowed the offense of his herdsmen and come to the man that without him he would have nothing. And so when he came, Abram, was settled. He said, it's not the whole land before thee. Separate thyself, I pray thee. Notice he didn't say the whole land is before us. He said, oh, you got that attitude? Hey, there it is. The whole land is out there. Because I got a promise God going to bless me wherever I go. Watch this. I pray thee. He said, separate yourself, I pray thee, from me. I'm releasing you, Lot. You can go. And I'm going to let you go like Pharaoh let me go. All the stuff I gave you, take it with you. Don't leave no Laban here to mess up my stuff. Take it out. Take it out. Take it out. It shouldn't be like that, but Abram ain't pleading his case. He said, okay, young man, I'm going to loose you and let you go. Take all your stuff with you. I'm giving you enough to succeed in life, but I know you're going to fail because of your attitude. Depart from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I'll go to the right. And I'm going to let you leave, and I'm going to let you choose where you want to go. You choose first. You have first choice. Whichever way you go, I'm going to go the opposite way. I ain't going to be in your face. Watch this now. If you depart to the right, then I'll go to the left. And Lot lift up his eyes, selfish eyes, and behold the plain of Jordan, undiscerning eyes, that it was well watered, temporary eyes, everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest into Zorah. See, Lot been in Egypt, and he's got an Egyptian mentality, not a heavenly mentality. He saw what Pharaoh had and how it looked down there, and you know we gravitate toward pictures. I want that. I like that. But see, sometimes we need to find out what's the source of the image. Where did I get that image from? And Lot lifted up his eyes and saw all that. And then, verse 11, Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves, the one from the other. And Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan. So it ain't too small now. He gone. And Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain and pitched his tent. Watch this, in the wrong direction. So as he left without God, he pitched his tent toward. And how many know if you pitch it toward, that means that's what you're facing, that's what you're seeing, that's what's going to attract you, that's what's going to draw you. He pitched his tent, that's his house, where he has his dwelling, toward the wrong direction. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before God exceedingly. And you pitch your tent, your gaze, your focus toward wicked. And you got church folk that's sitting up under men and women of integrity, men and women that believe in holy, clean living, and you tell them, we don't do that, that's compromising. Well, everybody else doing it. No, baby. You're looking at the wrong thing. But I want success overnight. I had one of my spiritual daughters, she divorced me and Miss Jessie now, cut us off. But she said, I ain't going to start where you started. I'm going to start where you at. I'm like, how you going to get here? I learned some stuff to get here. If you ain't going to start, so, she cut us off, went on. Told us the Lord said she don't have to come around this ministry no more. I said, all right, obey him. But the men of Sodom were sinners before the Lord. What? Exceedingly. You cannot hang around exceedingly wicked people and maintain righteousness. That's why I started off with what I started off with from Proverbs. See, evil communication corrupt good morals. So you got to understand that association. We used to say birds of a feather flock together. You ain't never seen an eagle in a barnyard. Bunch of chickens scratching around in their own mess. Come on, you got to use an eagle. You fly, you soar. Eagle's nest minimum is 10,000 feet up. You ain't fooling with the ground stuff. An eagle got peripheral vision. He can see 200 yards peripheral vision. You know when a chicken can't see nothing, got his head down picking, don't know what's going on. A chicken snake, you ain't never heard no eagle snake. An eagle will fly down, take a snake with his talon, take his butt 10,000 feet in the air where he can't even breathe, and turn him loose and drop him. But you want to hang with them chickens, because they all flocked up together, a bunch of them. No. And the Lord said unto Abram, now watch this, after Lot was departed from him. I want you to see, even though it looks like it was a rip, Lot should not have left, but he did. But there's going to be no remorse. There's going to be no setback to Abram, because after Lot leaves, watch this now, and separated himself, he said, lift up now. Now that he's gone, lift up your eyes. Now I know a lot of folks teach God didn't speak to him until Lot left. But just since you heard that teaching, listen to this today. Lift up now your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward, southward, eastward, and westward. That's all 4 directions. But Lot just pitched his towards Sodom. One-dimensional. See, folk leaving you prematurely, they one-dimensional. They don't know where they're going. They just, well, that look like it. I just go right there. If they'd have been still sitting at your feet, you could have said, that looks good. But it's fluff. Ain't no substance to it. It ain't going to hold. It's going to corrupt you. It's going to hurt you. So now, he said, lift up your eyes and look. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed after thee. What if Lot would have still been there? He'd have got a portion of that. But he didn't have enough sense to stay and be respectful. He didn't have enough sense to honor. See, that's what happened when you get to that place where you want to compete with your leader. Listen, let your pastor stay your pastor. If he don't get in the immorality, he don't get in the foolishness, just because you pastor, don't cut your pastor off. Just because you go raise up a work, I don't care if you become an apostle, stay with yours. What happened? Now we got an apostolic association. But see, I need iron to sharpen iron. I need somebody to rule. Go to Luke 5. Lot missed a whole lot. But you know, Abram's heart was so good in the 18th chapter. Matter of fact, let's go to the 18th chapter of Genesis. 18th chapter of Genesis. 18th chapter of Genesis. I want you to no, I'll tell you what, go back to the 14th chapter. Because that's Abram on his own in the 18th chapter again. Verse 1 and 2 tell us what's going on. Pick it up from verse 3. And all these were joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer. And in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him and smote. So here's what they left, but he waited a year to get things together. He didn't just abruptly rush out there and go try to get them back. See? Verse 6, and the Horites in their Mount Seir and Elparan, which is in the wilderness, and they returned and came. Okay, I don't want to read all them names. Let's go to verse 11. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah. Where Lot at? Where Lot pitched his tent at? And now there's coming a raid there, and he ain't got no help. Because see, Abraham trained his men in the art of war. Lot left too soon to learn that. His men don't know how to do nothing. And he done got down to Sodom. He think he big cheese. Probably the folks that were with him have already left him. They defected like he did. Because what you sow, you reap. Now you're down there on his own. And because he pitched towards Sodom and the men were exceedingly wicked, he didn't just leave his tent there. He moved into Sodom. Sodom drew him in. And now that he in there, now I know real men ain't going to hang around with gay men like that. So they like, boss, you can have some of them. I got to go. I'm not finna, I got a family. I ain't taking my kids in that trash. But Lot went in there, sitting in the gate, but he backslid. He's lost his worship. He's lost his praise. Watch this. And he lost his influence. Look at here. They took Lot, Abram's brother. You know, it's his nephew, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. Wait a minute. His goods is his cattle, his camels, his sheep. You see what I'm saying? Everything that he received through association is now been ripped because of disassociation. He left Abram looking good, but his increase now is decrease. It didn't happen overnight. It was progressive. See, and folk, when they leave you, they think, you just, and you know better, but they won't listen to you no more. They think you're trying to hold on to them. You're trying to keep me up under you. No, I'm trying to help you. But watch this. And they departed. And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plains of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Ishkol, and brother of Anar. These were what? That means covenant. They confederate. They in covenant with Abram. Now Lot left him, but these men are in covenant with him. I want you to see this because most people just preach about the the ones from Abraham's house. But Abraham, these three brothers brought their entourage together. You know, it's like when you have these, what they call these sister church fellowships, amen, on fellowship night, because it's at your church, it ain't just your members there. The other folk bring theirs too. You see, we got a project. So Abram, he mentions these three guys so you'll know. And Abraham heard his brother was taken captive. What I'm trying to show you is there's no bitterness, there's no strife in Abram. But watch this now. Was taken captive. He armed his trained servants born in his own home, 318, and pursued them into Dan. But he mentioned his three Confederate friends first, because he's taking the 318 that he trained, and his three Confederate friends is going to come and bring theirs, and they finna go get his brother back. They ain't never met his nephew. But evidently Lot had been talking about Abram. Or Abram had been saying, keep an eye out for my nephew. Because when he got caught and somebody got away, they come straight to Abram. Don't folk do you like that? Your spiritual son, your spiritual daughter is out here using your name, and this is the kind of mess they doing. And all you can do is pray for them. But when the chips is down, just like a real daddy, let me go pick the boy up. Let me go help him, go dust him off. He divided himself against them, he and his servants, by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Holab, which is in the left hand, to the left of Damascus. And watch this, he bought back all the goods, and also bought again his brother Lot and his goods. Now come on, this ain't just talking about some canned beans. This is them cattle, them sheep, them camels. He bought all of his wealth back. Listen, by the rule of law, it belongs to Abraham. When you take it, the bounty is yours. The booty, the spoil goes to the one who wins the victory. Him, his 318, and them three friends. Now, the 318 is trained in his house. They live in his house, right? That's why I'm going to show you that it's more than just 318. The other three is there too. Now, watch this. And he brought them all back. And he brought Lot and his goods, and the women also, and the people. And he rescued everybody. And the king of Sodom went out. Now he's somewhere hid to meet him after he returned from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer. And the kings that were with him in the valley of Shavah, which is the king's dale, and Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine. He, the priest of the Most High God, and he, the priest, blessed Abram and said, blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, that's El Elyon, which have delivered thine enemies into thy hand. You see, God gets the credit for everything. And he gave him tithes of all. Pause. I submit to you, he did not give him any tithe out of what came from this battle. I'm going to show you in a minute, he didn't take anything. If you don't receive it, enter the tithe offer. But he had his tithe from when he left. He had his tithe from all of his increase, but he hadn't met the high priest yet. So when the priest showed up, Abram gave all the tithe out of what he already had. You know how me and my wife travel sometime, and we when I come back, we bring the tithe when we come back. We be gone 3-4 weeks at a time. But I don't come back and forget that I got tithe. Now watch this. He said this. He gave him tithes of all. Now, so that means he got to the priest before the king of Sodom got to him. And the king of Sodom said unto Abram, give me the person. See, the king, no, I need people to rule. I don't want to rule over no donkey. Give me the people, and I'll get back where I was at. But take the goods, that's all the stuff, to yourself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hand unto the Lord. See, when he said, I lift up my hand unto the Lord, he's talking about, you know, they shook hands from the wrist. So he says, so when I lift up my hand, God's hand came in. We got covenant. The covenant was you cut in the wrist, mingled the blood. He said, I'm in covenant with El Elyon. I've already lifted my hand up to him. And when I made that covenant, I made a promise. I made a vow to him. Watch what he said. I have lifted up my hand unto the Lord. You see, it's all capital letters. That's Yahweh. Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. The Most High God, El Elyon, the possessor of heaven and earth, the God who owns everything, that I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latch, and that I will not take anything that is thine. He had made a covenant with God. I'm not taking anything from this man. This man's not going to be able to give me anything because I saw his heart. He ran off and left the people when they was attacked. I don't want nothing from it. At least you lie and say you made Abraham rich. He wouldn't have what he had if it wasn't for me. You wouldn't have nothing if it wasn't for him. But watch Abraham. I love what Abram said. I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou should say, I made Abram rich. Save, except only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, and then he names them. He don't name 318. The 318 was the young men that ate, during the battle. His 3 Confederate friends is who he named. Give them what? Their portion. Now, they're going to take their portion of this battle. They're going to take their portion of this spoil. But for me, I ain't receiving nothing. These 318, they with me, they don't need nothing. But these 3 right here, everything that belongs to them, you're going to give that to them. And the king is not going to argue. I want you to see these 3 are increasing because of their association. If Abraham wouldn't have been in the battle, they wouldn't have been in the battle. If Abraham hadn't won the battle, there'd be no spoil. They with him. And they increasing through their association. Now, let's go to the 18th chapter is the intercessory chapter. And he prays all the way through it. But go to the 19th chapter. There came 2 angels to Sodom, even at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. He's supposed to be the gatekeeper, y'all, but he ain't kept nothing out. He just welcomed everything in. What's the word that they use? Tolerance. He's tolerant.
Encouraged through the uncompromising message that you heard today. If you would like to have this message in its entirety, send $8 for compact disc or $20 for video to the Reality of the Gospel Ministries Incorporated, P.O. Box 164091, Little Rock, Arkansas 72216. If you would like to become a partner with this ministry, you may do so by joining the Ally 200 Club at $25 a month, or you may become a Truth Ally for $10 or more each month. Send your offerings to the Reality of the Gospel Ministries Incorporated, P.O. Box 164091, Little Rock, Arkansas 72216. If you continue in God's word, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.